Hello, this is Craig Stevens, and this is the WBS podcast. We're going to talk a little bit about Change Mentor, the app that we just put together. The app is designed to mentor you in change management. It's not just me mentoring, but you and others who are part of this group that we're putting together are going to mentor each other. This is specifically designed for your people who maybe are techies who are moving into management. And anybody interested in change, anybody interested in project management, even senior level people need to know about how to manage change, how to manage the whole cycle of change, and also how to manage projects, which is the main tool to implement a change. Today we're going to talk to Joe Dover. Joe Dover is an interesting guy, has an interesting job. He is the one who does the marketing by mail for a bunch of different companies. They have large machines that do large things and large marketing efforts. So we'll talk to him in just a couple of seconds. And I'm happy you're here to join us. Remember, you can catch us at the Change Mentor app all the time. We put these recordings on Change Mentor app, so I hope to see you there. Hi, my name is Craig Stevens. I'm back, and I'm talking to Joe Dover. Joe, I know we talked a little bit about your background. Can you talk a little bit more about it for the people who are listening? A little bit about who you are and where you're from, what your interests are, and those kind of things.
I sure can, Craig. Thanks. I have a diverse background, and I've been in the airline industry. I've been in the television industry. I've been in the venture capital arena. Currently, I'm with United Mail, and I've been here a couple of years. I manage our national accounts effort. And when you think of United Mail and you think of the United States Postal Service mail, it's very, very similar functions. Although we don't actually deliver it, we get it ready to hand to the United States Postal Service. A couple of areas that I focus on, one is the marketing side, which we talked about earlier, and that's when you get the 10% off sporting goods at Dick's, Craig, and the postcard, and you're welcome for that. And the second side is the compliance and transactional documents. And that's when you get your, fortunately or unfortunately, your statement from your dentist, from your insurance provider, maybe a check from a rebate check. Those are much more complex. There's a lot that goes into those in terms of compliance and keeping your data and information secure. That's primarily where I focus, although I do a good amount of business on the marketing mailing side. And put in context what we do and what I do is I put about 1 million pieces of mail into the United States Postal Stream a day between our two facilities in Kentucky and Ohio. We have big machines that run really fast and distribute mail all over the United States. Don't get me wrong, if your letter from your Aunt Myrtle is late, I have nothing to do with that. We don't deliver endpoint delivery. We just turn it over to United States Postal Service. In getting an EOB from your health insurance company, a statement from your credit card company, maybe an informational packet from your financial advisor or financial advisory firm. Those documents, to get them in your mailbox is, there's a lot that goes into that in between to make sure that what you have is safe and secure. And as we know, make no mistake, there are thousands of attempts daily on every point that you can think of to find and steal your data. And knowing that it's safe and secure is the one and only concern of any chief compliance and security officer. And so what sets United Mail apart in that arena is our data security and safety. So there's only, I think there's very few, and certainly on a national level, that have the certifications that we have.
All right, very good. Now, I think we first met through LinkedIn, and we reached out to each other and linked together like everybody else does. And then you mentioned that you had some healthcare related products that you that you represent, I guess. And so could you go into a little bit of detail on how you might be able to help the healthcare industry?
Yeah, thanks. I'll make this as interesting as I can for those that know the product and know the need. It is interesting. Uh, so in compliance and transactional, the data has to be secured from the point of delivery from our client to the point of delivery to the United States Postal Service. And in that, it's not just simply a secured data file and a secure transfer portal, although that's the first start. So how the data is managed in-house, where it's stored, how long it's stored, and who has access to that. So there's considerably more that goes into that than most people would be aware of. Not only do we start with a secure file transfer portal, then that data is in a secure sequestered data center that's in-house with staged access. So think of a firewall wherein there are those that have immediate need and those that have ancillary needs and those that don't have needs, but each person along the way has to justify why and how and when they access the data. It's held for a certain amount of time, shredded. It goes through a four-step process to shred the data. Simply, if you think of a delete button on your computer or your phone, doesn't work. that really doesn't work. That just simply moves your data to another part of the hard drive, sort of fences it off. It doesn't truly shred it. So that's key. And then in the facilities, actual physical facilities have to be secured, and that badged access and camera monitoring with, again, staged access. So there's quite a bit more that goes into securing your data than just a secure data file or even a staged a secure file transfer is just the first and easiest part of secure data.
The first thought comes to mind: who would be most interested in your services related to healthcare? What group would that be? Cybersecurity? Would that be some other group? What group would be most interested in what you can offer them?
So revenue cycle management,
Gotcha.
compliance, and operational. So if you think of the number of communications that you get, fortunately or unfortunately, after a doctor's visit, you get your first bill, your second bill, your third bill, any number of bills that then are combined with, then you try to match those up to your EOBs and make sure that what you're paying is correct, right? But each of those mailings are coming from a new data file. That's a lot of personally identifiable information, protected health information, PHI, if you will. So those that are involved in sending those files over to get those files printed and mailed would primarily be housed in revenue cycle management, compliance, and operations. So those folks that I talk to in the industry know very well, very quickly what we will likely be discussing, whether it's quickly signing a business associate agreement, providing assurances and insurances that our company's high trust CSF, SOC 2, Type 2, our ISO certifications. So there's any number of things that go into first setting the table in terms of reassuring those in the healthcare arena or financial arena that we are safe and we are secure. Then the conversations turn to really the more tactical items of sending the data files over, getting those printed, getting them out the door, and getting them in the hands of their clients or prospects.
That's pretty interesting. I noticed that when we talked earlier, you mentioned that there's a whole bunch of different clients, not only healthcare. So I gave you a couple of examples of things that I was doing, and you came up with some pretty good explanations related to how you might serve that group. So let's look at the consulting. You mentioned consultants and trainers and educators, maybe. You also mentioned real estate. And we mentioned, well, I think those are the two that we focused on. Tell us, the healthcare side sounds like you're safe and secure. And how could you help the other two that may have different issues but still have to reach a large number of people?
Yeah, so data is the key here. The days of direct mail to current resident are behind us, or at least for our company, the key being the data. And I think we talked briefly about being able to target those prospects that have the highest likelihood of need. So
That saves a lot of money because,
save a
it's
lot of money.
expensive to send out mailings to a group of people. So that is a very valuable asset.
It thanks it is, and of course, getting a higher response rate is the end goal of any direct mail campaign. So I'll give you a brief example. Let's say that you're at the credit union and you have a certain amount of data on your clients. You understand that they have a certain number of accounts. They have recently taken loans for certain items. Maybe they've moved. Believe it or not, every little data point matters, right? And you can combine that with other data files to paint a fairly accurate picture of what their ideal customer looks like, or a customer in need, or at what point in their life cycle as a customer that they will be in need. So let's say, for example, we know that Craig is and I'll be you look like you're 28. We're going to go 28.
I'm 61.
Okay, you're 61. So let's say that Craig is 28, and we know that. We know that Craig just signed on another signer to his account, which would be his new wife. So now we know he's married, and we know that he took out a home loan 10 years ago. But now we know that with predictive analysis, there's a high rate of likelihood in the next year or two, Craig's going to need a home loan, a new mortgage, right? Because he's going to be upgrading, maybe having children. So we can focus on getting Craig the messages at certain times that highlight mortgage rates, right? And then other times, once he's taken that mortgage, or we get close to that, we can also focus on auto loans, right? And when I say that, so we're sending out the message for auto loans, but on that postcard, we're not putting a picture of a Ferrari. We're putting a picture of a minivan or an SUV, right? And if you can
I like the
extract,
Ferrari better,
okay,
but that's good.
We'll go with that, Craig. We'll go with that. And so across that spectrum, or across that a wide swath, if you have thousands or tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of clients, you can pinpoint where people are in their life cycle or purchasing cycle, and where they may be. So that's pretty sophisticated, pretty robust targeting method, as opposed to, let me send everyone in this city a postcard or a letter offering a low auto loan rate. Man, you're going to have a ton of waste, just 90% waste. So that's one area in the marketing arena that we can target those eyeballs that you really want to get.
Yeah, you mentioned you're fast and automatic, and you had big machines that do great things, and we're slow. We're very manual. We have people who handwrite letters, but that's part of what our charm is for the people we're going after. So that's a big asset to have somebody that can come in and help you with all of that, because time and people's amount of time they spend on something is always very valuable. If we can cut some of that out, that's really good. Let's see. So I think you went over a whole bunch of things. Is there any, well, here's something. The Change Mentor app is all about change and helping people to manage the changes that are coming. Some of it's related to forecasting a little bit. Some of it's related to how do you get people from point A to point B on the change curves. And some of it's related to project management, anything related to change. So when you're thinking about the subject of change and the things that you're seeing coming and the things that you've seen over the last couple of years that are changing, do you have any thoughts that come to mind related to change and how you might mentor somebody to get through a change related to your area of expertise and what you noticed or what you see coming? Any of those?
All right, thank you. That was thrown across the middle, Craig.
Yeah.
Well, I will create, ears will perk up when I make this next statement. So the market is moving back toward direct mail. Right.
Why is that?
Well, why is that? Let me back up one step before I answer that. Millennials, the fastest growing response rate as a group in the country. I comment on the larger reasons why. I can't give you proof of that, but you think about a piece of mail that's addressed to Craig Stevens with a message well thought out and graphics that are that are targeted directly to where you may be in your purchasing cycle leaves an impression. And with over the past several years, a decrease in volume in direct mail, those that are done well stand out even more. So in these times we're in now with the COVID-19 pandemic, you've seen the videos, the memes, the jokes about getting dressed up to go check the mail. It's true. That's true. And that is really right now, digital is being overwhelmed and overloaded. And in fact, the creep factor there is very high right now. Certainly the backlash against tech. So we have seen in the COVID-19 pandemic, we've seen an overall increase in marketing mail and an overall increase in response rates. You get something in your hand, feels good. It's got your name on it. It's got a picture that was really designed to appeal to you right where you are in that purchase cycle. The response rates are going up, direct mail volume is going up, and the effectiveness of it is going up.
Well, that's really interesting, because with that whole concept, I guess all of it, like email and phone calls and everything, but with direct mail specifically, your cost is pretty high. So that whole business intelligence part that we talked about before the call plays right into that. How can you find that specific 20 people that might buy your product 80% of the time versus that 300 million people who will never look at it, and that 20 is lost in the middle of it? So that's a big savings as far as, direct mail, I guess.
That's let's see. So that's true to some extent. When you look at the cost of a direct mail campaign, we're compared to digital. But it's not apples to apples. It's not apples to helicopters, but it's not apples to apples. And so when I say that, digital is incredibly inexpensive and incredibly ineffective. So when you're buying a million impressions for a quarter, you're getting any number of you're getting a 99.9% waste rate, right? So it's not a direct comparison. And certainly in advertising and you get into these remnant warehouses or remnant purchase situations where you're just buying up whatever's left. So do you really need the eyeballs of someone at 4 in the morning, at 3:30 in the morning?
That also goes with the data science and business intelligence too, because you're that mass marketing to all those digital people can also be narrowed down to just those people most interested in your Facebook ad or whatever you're going for too. So maybe I didn't mean to cut you off, but
No,
that's the first thought I had. So I hope it didn't mess up your train of thought. But
no, you didn't. That's a very good point, in that you can purchase you can broadly purchase data for a web presence, or you can pinpoint through Google and Facebook, that sort of thing. That is incredibly expensive too. When you pinpoint those, the finer that you grade that, the more expensive it becomes. But that being said, digital is certainly an important component. We support digital platforms as well. It's just not the end-all be-all solution that I think an entire generation, frankly, thought it was going to be. There's other avenues, there's other ways that still support high response rates and reaching your target audience. We have many parallel campaigns in digital combined with direct mail. So I just want to iterate that direct mail is effective, and the cost per response or acquisition is very favorable when compared to a digital solution.
Well, that's very good. Well, I know that you only have a certain amount of time that you have time to speak. So let's find out how people can contact you if they need more information. And also, while we're doing that, if you can think of a final thought that you might leave with people, and we'll do that at the end. But I noticed I pulled up your, and people on the audio podcast aren't going to be able to see this, but I pulled up your LinkedIn account, and I'll read it. It's LinkedIn, so www.linkedin.com /IN/JDOVER, J Dover 1. And then there's another /. So that's the LinkedIn connection. And I guess if they link to you on LinkedIn, then they can send messages to you, and you'd be happy to send messages to them on how you might help them. How else can they get a hold of you? Do you have, let me see, I'll go to more here. I'm trying to figure out, is there a
I leave
direct
there's
email?
a direct email, Joe Dover.
Contact
At,
information. Yeah, let's go here. All right,
that's right.
so go ahead and say that.
Joe Dover at united-mail.com.
Okay.
And my cell phone is on LinkedIn as well. And that's 502-930-7577. And LinkedIn, if you simply search for Joe Dover, I'm the handsome bald guy. And I'm the only
And with
one.
a really great picture. That's a really good picture of you. It looks
Thank you.
like you look like you're
Good. A model.
able.
I'll help you.
Yeah,
Sure.
a model. Yeah, I was trying to think of honesty.
Ah,
But
thank
the
you.
model part, okay, we'll say that too.
Yeah, thanks so much. And Craig, I've had, I appreciate you having me on. And my final thought would be that I have it on my LinkedIn as my opening statement. And in business, I've not had any, there's not been any occasion where this didn't serve me well. And it is in making my goal and to be successful is to make my clients successful. I've never had anyone complain or be unhappy that I've worked hard to try to make them successful. I think it's universal. Karma is real, and you get what you give. If you work really hard and your goal is to do well for your clients, so that they do well, you will all be successful.
Yeah, and I always state to everybody that my number one goal is make everybody look good. If I can make everybody I talk to and everybody I work with look good to their boss, look good to their customer, look good to whoever is important in their lives, then it helps them and it helps me because they'll want me back. And
Right.
not only that, but it gives you a good feeling. You're not there to play gotcha. You're not there to make yourself look good. You're there to help the client look good. And so I really appreciate just your outlook on that area also.
Thank you.
All right, I think that's all I got. Everybody knows where to reach you. We have your LinkedIn view up there. That's probably the easiest way I found to reach people, quick. And that's all I got. So I think we're good. I think we can
Thanks
go
so much.
on and you can do the other things you have to do today.
Thanks so much, Craig.
Thank you.